First, before I get into whom I'm going to induct, how's everybody's bladder? We okay? I mean, we're all old. We need to take a 3-minute break. I mean, we can certainly do that. I mean, I came here this morning and I was 63. Right? Now I'm 65. I got my Medicare card. One of the wonderful things that I am thankful for, my dad, a Hall of Famer, instilled in me a long time ago an appreciation for history. And the man that I've been asked to induct instilled in me an appreciation for but to make it 13 times? How about going over to Le Mans, France, and competing 10 times in the twice around the clock endurance contest, finishing third in 1971? How about standing atop the podium on that rickety old airport that was turned into a place that we all love, Sebring? He even made a couple of Formula One starts, back when they were the men that lived by the grace of God in 12 seconds, because that was about their life expectancy. I didn't know this about this guy, but he actually made one start in Sprint Cup competition. Now, when you meet him and I tell you the rest of the story, you can imagine how that became a little bit foreign to me, because, yep, nope, ask my daddy is not part of Sam Posey's lexicon. He's an architect, he was a fine painter, a model train enthusiast like my dad and Paul Page, and there were a lot of times when we would trade stories about Lionel trains. He was an Emmy Award winning analyst for the unlikeliest of events. Who'd have thought that he would win it for his coverage of ABC's Tour de France? But probably he's best known for what he did in the broadcast booth. At the heyday of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indy 500, he painted word pictures that helped us all begin to understand what it was like out there. He also was the co-host of what I euphemistically used to call the Bobby and Sam Show. Sam, I wanted to let you know Bobby Unser couldn't be here today, but he wanted to remind you, as he congratulated you, that Sam, you're still wrong. You're still dead wrong. I've never been around two guys that had more animated conversations. Bobby Unser would sit there and say, it's like a giant flywheel. You have to wind it up. Meanwhile, Sam would paint the word picture that was a little bit more understanding to those of us that didn't find ourselves with our minds polluted by methanol and living in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But I want to take a moment, because the other side that you don't know about Sam wasn't really good with technical things. We came up with this brilliant idea. You know the telestrator that's used on football, and now it's commonplace in NASCAR, right? When they circled Matt Kenseth punting, you know, Joey Logano. I didn't know Joey thought he was going to a Greek wedding. I don't know, but we know that. Well, Sam Posey was the first man to ever utilize a telestrator in a motorsports event. Let me take you back to Atlanta, Georgia, one fall weekend, with Jim Lampley in the booth doing the play-by-play, and we have this telestrator, and Sam, while he wasn't technically oriented, he was a detail-oriented person. He had practiced and practiced and practiced, just waiting for the opportunity to use this telestrator and foist it upon all of us motorsports fans. And all of a sudden there's a crash, and he'd get ready and go, oh, we're going to show you this. And as he starts to circle it, the director goes to another shot. I was the stagehand at the time. And finally, after the 20th attempt at getting this telestrator, and Jim Lampley and Sam mentions, you know, this is some new technology, the telestrator. He says, well, I'm not normally a technical sort of guy. And Lampley, as an aside, says, no, Sam, your work with the telestrator today have proven that to all of us. But some of you may remember this, and I want you to listen carefully. I take you back to 1986, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indy 500. That same Indy 500 that was rained out on its scheduled race day. And we waited till Monday, and then we waited till Tuesday. And by Wednesday, they told us, come back on Saturday. We're going down to the end of the race. And a California kid with the blonde hair and the surfer's looks is leading Kevin Kogan in the final moments. And again, Mr. Technical, we had unveiled in-car radios. And it's the opportunity that Sam waited for, to talk before the restart to the leader, Kevin Kogan, of the Indy 500.
Kevin, this is Sam Posey. Your thoughts now with just 3 laps to go.
I'm kind of busy right now, Sam. I'll talk to you afterwards.
Well, how that worked out for Kevin, don't we? Because on that restart, as he's coming up through the gearbox, Bobby Rahal, who was living on fumes, piloted the Red Roof Inn to his first and only Indy 500 victory. But most importantly, and I heard the term used describing someone that's being inducted as a Renaissance man. A true Renaissance man is someone whose eyes are wide open, who enjoys and embraces life, who refuses to allow any misfortune to cloud the mark that he leaves on the world. I have been very, very humbled and fortunate to induct a lot of friends and people into this hall, but none are more meaningful to me or more inspiring than my friend Sam Posey, who I was blessed to spend so many great years as part of the ABC team. He's an outstanding driver, and on that alone, he should have been in this Hall of Fame a long time ago. But what he did for the state of auto racing, with his association with the Indy 500, with NASCAR, with Monaco Grand Prix, with all of it, the racing world has been very, very fortunate to have someone like Sam. And I feel very, very fortunate to welcome him as a member of the Hall of Fame. Sam Posey.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah.
You want to hold that? Okay. You want my hand? Yeah. There you go. Whoa, we got it.
Ugly, I'm afraid. Jack was the most valued member of our ABC team, and we had a wonderful team, as you mentioned, Jim McKay and others. But Jack had a special quality to him. He loved racing unconditionally. And it didn't matter whether it was an exciting race or a boring race or a race stopped by rain. You could always count on him to have something. We the first day that it rained that year, what was the year?
Oh God, yeah.
What we had what are called saddlebags, the material that you use when you need it, when you cut away from the race. And the producer called Jim McKay and me up here in the booth and said, what have you got? And Jim McKay said, nothing. I said, nothing. Jack said, I've got something. And the next time he needed something from the saddlebags, he asked Jack first, and Jack said, yes, he had something. And that was really the story of Jack at Indianapolis. And ABC, he always had something. And that's not an easy thing to do. A piece on television is a very demanding thing. It has to be brief. Oh, yeah, sure, fine. Now you see, that's Jack being technical.
You need help.
Thank you very much. As you can see, I'm not in very good shape, but I'm getting better now. The new drugs are coming on the market. I had an experience a couple of days ago, which I regard as one of the highlights of my life. I can't drive the car anymore because I'm taking something called Coumadin. Probably some of you here are taking that. It thins your blood out. So that the point being that I can't drive the car because if I wreck it, it's internal damage could cause bleeding, and who wants that? So, but we had the car, the most beautiful car with my friend Don Bressauer, created out of a Formula Ford, which has about 105 horsepower. Our Formula Ford has 185 horsepower, and it's a bullet. And so we basically signed up a local driver, a guy who we bought the car from in the first place, and arranged for the track to be empty from 5:30 to 6. And our guy went out on the road all by himself, and we hear the shifting every shift. We knew where he was on the track and how fast he was going. Then it occurred to me then, we had the ingredients for what racing is all about. We had a brave driver, a great car, and an empty track. And that is something that was so beautiful. And I wish I could have shared it with more people. Jack, you'd have loved it. And so that's it. And I thank you for inducting me here in the Hall of Fame. It's a wonderful thing. And I think I have a little feeling for what you guys are up to, because Jack made Stafford Speedway with that available for me for one memorable day where I tried all of the different classes of cars. And I learned then and there that this wasn't going to be for me. Way too difficult and way too technical. So it would have played to my weaknesses, which are many. But Jack, thank you so much. And thank you all so much for putting up with me. Here I am.
Good. Wow, look at the hair. Holy cow.